My wife texted me to congratulate me on my birthday and placed a frozen pizza on the counter. My best friend had a backyard party with fireworks and a drone photographer a week prior, hosted by my wife and her pals. I didn't respond when my wife shrugged and said, "You're not really the celebrating type." I skipped meals. I simply picked up my luggage and left the room. My name is Miles Carter, and I need you to understand something immediately. That evening, my wife texted, "Why is everyone freaking out?" I'm not the type of person who exhibits dramatic outbursts or tantrums about trivial matters. I make sense. I have a level head, even though no one asked me to. I'm the guy who always remembers to bring the potato salad to the cookout. And instead, everyone will eat the mac and cheese from the grocery. You see, I'm the human equivalent of a Honda Civic. Dependable, effective, and reportedly so uninteresting that on my 34th birthday, my own wife forgot I was even alive. Allow me to describe the events of this day, which was a true masterpiece. Only a married guy on his birthday can summon the cautious optimism with which I awoke that morning. For example, perhaps, just possibly, this year would be different. Tara could even remember to wish me a happy birthday before scrolling through her Instagram account. Or she might even surprise me with breakfast in bed, folks. I'm not requesting a parade. Simple human recognition that I had made it through another orbit of the sun without being struck by a bus or being addicted to gambling. Around 8 in the morning, I came downstairs, showered, and got dressed as though it were a big occasion. Which, in my naive little universe, it was. There was nobody in the kitchen. There were no streamers, balloons, or cards with hearts scrawled in Sharpie positioned against the coffee maker. Tara's midnight snack raid had left us with the typical mess. A spoon in the sink, empty yogurt cartons on the counter, and the subtle scent of something that could have been cheese but could also have been regret. I looked at my phone. Nothing. Not even one of those automatic birthday messages from my dentist's office reminding me that I need a cleaning. Not a single text or phone contact. I brewed my own coffee. I know it's a shocking development. I pondered whether she was preparing a surprise while seated at the kitchen table. Perhaps she was holding off until nightfall. Perhaps I was being overly suspicious, and she had planned something kind and considerate. I wasn't being paranoid, spoiler alert. I was being foolishly optimistic, which is worse in some ways. Like a three-legged turtle crossing a freeway. The day sluggishly passed. I worked from home, responded to emails, and sat through a video conference in which Keith, my employer, requested me to revisit a project that I had completed twice earlier. I checked my phone once more about midday. Nothing had changed. I began to consider the possibility that I had hallucinated my own birthday at 3 o'clock. Perhaps I had invented the whole idea of commemorating my birth anniversary because I was experiencing some sort of existential crisis. However, Facebook verified it. I received 17 alerts from people I hardly remembered from high school, all of whom used champagne glass emojis they had undoubtedly copied from the previous year to wish me a happy day. I heard Tara's car arrive into the driveway about 6:30 in the evening. Like a golden retriever, my heart gave a pitiful little optimistic bounce at the word walk. I waited for her to enter the room with a cake, flowers, or anything else that would indicate she understood what day it was. While I pretended to read a book that I wasn't really reading, she entered with her gym gear and grocery bags. "Hey!" she said without glancing at me, as if I were the mailman or the grocery bagger, with the eagerness of someone taking out the trash. She threw the bags onto the kitchen counter, and I heard the familiar sound of frozen food hitting laminate. I waited. She just unpacked the groceries, put a few items in the refrigerator, and left one item on the counter. I allowed her a good 5 minutes to remember to slap her forehead and say, "Oh my God, Miles, I'm so sorry, happy birthday," after that. She snatched up her phone and vanished upstairs. Perhaps my masochism or curiosity overcame me. Folks, there it was when I entered the kitchen. The frozen pizza, the 10-year marital milestone, the grand gesture, the pièce de résistance. I mean, it wasn't even a good frozen pizza. We're talking cheese that might be plastic, cardboard crust, bottom shelf, as if it were an afterthought from a sitcom where the laugh track died of disappointment years ago. It was still wrapped in plastic, not cooked, not even accompanied by a message or a half-hearted, "I'll cook this later." It was simply there on the counter. I waited for the joke for a full minute while I stared at that pizza. This had to be a joke. She would undoubtedly walk downstairs at any moment, exclaim "gotcha," and reveal the true surprise. However, all that appeared was a text message from Tara, who was actually upstairs on my phone. "Congrats, Miles." 14 characters including the space and comma, and 2 words. "I'm the worst wife in the continental United States. So please refrain from asking for emojis, exclamation points, happy birthday, love you, or sorry, just congrats, Miles. as if I had successfully parallel parked or completed a crossword puzzle of moderate difficulty on my first attempt. But this is where the narrative truly becomes entertaining. You see, I'm not the type of person who forgets things, particularly when they include financial waste and public humiliation. My best friend Jordan had the birthday party of the century exactly 1 week prior. I'm talking backyard extravaganza with a big E thanks to Tara. She rented a tent, hired a catering company that served upscale sliders and truffle fries, set up a champagne fountain that looked like it cost more than my car and my personal favorite detail, hired a drone photographer who almost beheaded Jordan's cousin Greg. I had assisted with the party's setup. I strung lights, I rearranged furniture. I made 3 liquor store runs because apparently 1 bottle of premium vodka is insufficient for 15 guests. When it was all finished, Tara uploaded about 47 pictures to Instagram with the caption, "Celebrating this amazing human and nothing's too good for the people we love." She was beaming with pride when I gently asked why my birthday couldn't have a tenth of that energy. She looked at me like I'd suggested we sacrifice a goat in the living room. "You're not really the celebrating type." "Miles," she declared as she scrolled her phone. "You've always been more low-key." "Oh right, my bad. I forgot I was supposed to earn affection by providing pyrotechnics and nearly killing people with camera equipment. Silly me for thinking that maybe, just maybe, my own wife might give half a damn about the day I was born that night." Staring at that frozen pizza while the house settled into its usual evening silence, something inside me clicked. Not in anger, not even in sadness. More like a switch flipping. A decision making itself, I walked upstairs, pulled my old duffel from the closet, and started packing, toothbrush, clothes for a few days, laptop, charger, the essentials. Tara didn't even look up from her phone when I zipped the bag. "Going somewhere?" she asked, thumbs flying. "Yeah," I said. "Somewhere that doesn't smell like freezer burn and broken promises." I walked out without yelling, without slamming doors. Just me, my duffel, my dignity, and the haunting sound of an untouched pizza crust cracking in the kitchen. Probably buckling under the weight of its own mediocrity. Best birthday gift I ever gave myself. Honestly, the first thing you need to know about checking into a cheap hotel at 9:30 on a Tuesday with nothing but a duffel and the emotional baggage of a failed marriage is that nobody at the front desk is paid enough to care about your drama, and that was exactly what I needed. I pulled into the lot of the Sunset Inn, which faced east and hadn't seen a legitimate sunset since 1987, and sat in my car staring at the neon vacancy sign flickering like it was having its own crisis. The place looked like where a motivational speaker hits rock bottom or a traveling salesman makes questionable choices. Perfect, I'd fit right in. The lobby smelled like industrial cleaner and microwave burrito, more honest than my house ever did. Behind the desk was a guy about 22. Name tag said Brandon in all caps, like he was yelling his identity into existence. Earbuds in, clearly watching something better than my breakdown. I dinged the little bell. "Help you?" he asked. "Pulling one earbud out, yeah. I need a room for the night, maybe a few. Haven't worked out the details of my new living situation." Brandon typed on an ancient desktop that ran on Windows XP and prayers. "King or 2 queens? Just a king. I'm flying solo on this adventure." He nodded like he'd seen this scenario 100 times. "Credit card?" He processed it, glanced up with half curiosity, half pity celebrating something, he asked. I couldn't tell if he was sarcastic. "Yeah," I said. "My emotional independence." Brandon paused, cracked the smallest grin. "Good for you, man. 237, second floor. Stairs on your left, the elevator isn't working." "Of course it isn't," I said. "It would raise suspicion if anything went right. Ice machine on your floor, also broken. But the vending machine sometimes takes dollar bills. You're really selling this place, Brandon. Hey, it's $89 a night and we don't ask questions." That's the pitch. Fair enough. I grabbed my duffel and climbed the stairs, trying not to count the life choices that led here. The hallway carpet had that special pattern designed to hide stains. Like a kaleidoscope blended and spilled, room 237 was at the end, next to someone on a very loud call or a documentary about angry geese. The key card finally went green on the 3rd try. The room was exactly what you'd expect. One queen with a comforter that had witnessed things. A TV from 2003, a shoebox bathroom with apologetic water pressure, and that universal hotel smell. Cleaning products, other people's lives, existential dread, but the silence hit me. Not absence of noise, the neighbor argued about parking tickets, and the AC tried to talk to dolphins. It was the absence of expectations. No one to yell about water spots. No mother-in-law lectures about being a provider while sipping wine I paid for. I sat on the edge of the bed. It creaked. I didn't care. For the first time in years, I was in a space where nobody needed me to be anything other than a guy in a cheap hotel room. I wasn't disappointing anyone. I wasn't failing unspoken standards. I was just miles on a questionable mattress. Breathing air that didn't taste like resentment, I ordered a real pizza, because apparently that's what freedom tastes like, and watched a terrible reality show about storage units. The pizza arrived hot and unnecessary and perfect. I ate half while laughing at adults fighting over old Christmas decorations. Around midnight, my phone buzzed like an angry hornet. Texts rolled in. "Tara, where are you? This isn't funny. At least tell me you're all right." Then the winner from Linda, Tara's mother, reigning queen of passive aggression. "Why is everyone freaking out?" I took a long moment to process. Why is everyone freaking out, really, Linda? Maybe because your daughter treated her husband like expired leftovers. Maybe because I spent my birthday staring at a frozen pizza and the slow death of my dignity. Maybe because I finally grew a spine, but I didn't type any of that. I did something revolutionary. I turned off my phone, held the power button, and watched the screen go dark. Cutting off the tide of guilt trips and manipulation, the silence was profound. It made me realize how much noise I'd been tolerating. I brushed my teeth with complimentary toothpaste that tasted like minty regret, changed into an old t-shirt, and climbed into the hotel bed. The sheets were scratchy and smelled like detergent, but they were mine for the night. Nobody to complain I was taking up too much space. Nobody to sigh about my lamp. The AC hummed and rattled. Somewhere down the hall, an action movie blasted. The neighbor stopped arguing and started snoring loud enough to register on the Richter scale, and it was perfect. Every weird sound, every questionable smell, every moment of this ridiculous situation was perfect because it was mine. I chose it. I walked out of a life that was suffocating me and into a cheap room that smelled like other people's mistakes. And I felt free as I drifted off. I smiled in the dark. I hadn't burned that frozen pizza, hadn't thrown a tantrum, hadn't broken anything or left a dramatic note. I just left. And somehow that quiet exit felt more powerful than any grand gesture. Tomorrow I'd figure out logistics, where I'd stay, what I'd tell people, how I'd navigate this new reality, but tonight I was just a guy in room 237 of the Sunset Inn, falling asleep to malfunctioning air and distant explosions, feeling like maybe